Well, the beauty of it is that because we live in a decentralized network, we're able to create a token that's actually a Cardano native token. And from that, like Matt said, we're going to allow anybody access to that and be able to use that, say in a pool or a pair, whatever the case may be. Maybe even use it to pay for something in the future.
What is going on, Cardano community? Fareed here from RareEvo, joined by the Mehen team that just got done talking with Frederick Regard, getting some reassurances as to Mehen and what they're building. You guys, let me know what just went down.
Well, it seems like a lot of the Cardano community is building so much that it's hard to keep up with all the new developments, and so we help to educate CF about what we're doing with the stablecoin, how it works, what differentiates the smart contract stack with a general Cardano native token, and how kind of we plan on moving forward into launch this fall. So that's, we've got a good conversation with them, and I love being here at RareEvo where we can actually just see everybody all at once and really get the connections together, right?
Steve, or maybe Plutus, how has the experience been for you guys so far with RareEvo just kicking off?
I think RareEvo is a very good experience. I went here last year. It was an outstanding time. Came here again. Obviously, you had a good enough time to come back. Seeing and networking with a bunch of developers is great, especially as the ecosystem matures. There's been more tooling that makes it easier for people to build on Cardano. Because of that, you just have more interesting conversations. See a lot of interesting projects that have matured a lot. I think Wi-Fi is a big example of that as well. I'm really excited to talk to them at some point. And then, there's us. I think we're also a cool project that's been building some pretty cool Cardano technology, specifically in how we use our Oracle and our minting policy. Basically, you can't mint any more. Nobody can mint any more USDM than what's in our reserve. So I think that's a cool piece of tech and innovation in our fiat-backed stablecoin.
And if I'm not mistaken, that was one of the key pieces that Frederick really appreciated about what you guys are doing, right? Integrating with a platform like Charlie 3, and then having reserves that are actually verifiable, right? So Steve, you've been working a lot, I think, on the front end and the integration of banks, right? Like Plaid, et cetera, into your platforms. How has that been? And can you maybe just touch on that a little bit more?
Yeah. So there we are of a pre-prod.mehen.io. You can go there and you can create an account and then go through a simple KYC process, which you use Leslie Note, so don't put your real information in there because this is a sandbox. You'll be able to attach a bank. You can add your Web3 wallet. It'll give you an idea of what that flow will look like. So there was a big push the last couple months to be able to have this done for here. Because last year we were really new. Not a lot of people knew about us, knew what we were doing. This year definitely has a different feel. Like there's people talking about our project like without us being there, which is a huge step forward.
That's huge.
And so having those things, we demonstrated the smart contract, and then having this testnet instance for people to touch it, like it becomes more real, and it puts it at the forefront of people's minds. We still have a lot of work to do yet, but I mean, it's an exciting time right now.
I couldn't agree more, and I've been seeing a lot of the previews that you've been posting on Twitter with respect to all the integrations and some of the layouts or user interfaces that we'll be able to get when we get the launch of Mehen.
Yep.
And I'd be more than happy to have all of you on the channel to talk a little bit more about what Mehen is doing and all the progress that you guys have made so far. Because again, I know that you guys are on the cusp of releasing on the testnet. Now I've got two other questions. One is somewhat technical, so I'll maybe turn this over to either of the Matts here. But you touched on the developer tooling, right, which has gotten a lot easier very recently.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of people talking about Icon.
Yeah.
Are you guys looking at using something like that as well?
Yeah, so the smart contracts for Mehen are implemented in Icon. It has made the development of like on-chain scripts on Cardano just 1,000 times easier. Didn't take me too much time to develop the smart contract. It's also made debugging a lot better as well. I think the debug tooling on Icon really helped me figure out a lot of things when getting the testament ready and together and making sure everything's working right. Other tooling I think is also really notable is Lucid for the off-chain code. I think that's been really convenient when constructing the transactions that are needed to actually interact with the smart contracts. So shout out to Alessandro who made Lucid.
Yo,
That was a
huge shout out for raising the entire Cardano community. I've got another question here, one for Matt and then one for Blockjock here, and we're going to close this out. Matt, when Mainnet or when Testnet?
Well, Testnet now, right? But actual live, being able to set up an account, being able to actually integrate your bank account. We have to do a few things in the testing side still. And I think that we said Q4, we said fall, we said as much as October, November, December. I think that we are well on track to meet the early part of that goal.
I'm excited to hear that.
At least in a few states. That's the other concern. So we need to go through the licensing process in all 50 states. We need to go through the licensing process in the British Virgin Islands. We need to go through and process all of those different forms, wait for the government agencies, the different folks working at the state houses across the country. They're very hard workers and they do a very good job. They're very diligent, and you want to make sure that you do things right by them. So we're going slowly but steadily. We hope to get a mainnet mint of some size out of either Wisconsin, Wyoming, or Montana in the early Q4.
Now, I want to ask something very quickly again. Because you're dealing with specific states, once you are able to get in with one state, does that mean that anybody on the Cardano network can interact with Mehen regardless of them actually living in that state?
Yeah, the regulated activity is issuing the token itself. So we can only issue it to people who are located in those states. But once it's been issued and it's on chain, then it'll flow around the ecosystem. And so we're hoping to get a few people from those states to mint a good number and then utilize it in the ecosystem. And so from there, it's really a matter of just keeping up with demand.
Perfect. I'm really happy to hear that, right? And so for the Cardano community, as soon as they're able to get in with at least one state, we should then all be able to get a hold and begin testing with the Mehen stablecoin. Now, last but not least, we've got Blockjock here that I just met here in person for the very first time. Shout out to you, Block. You've been such an instrumental player in my journey here within the Cardano community. What I want to pose to you is, as a member of the Mehen team, what has your experience been like? What have you learned, and what are you most looking forward to when it comes to the launch of such a brand new type of asset on the Cardano network?
Well, the beauty of it is that because we live in a decentralized network, we're able to create a token that's actually a Cardano native token. And from that, like Matt said, we're going to allow anybody access to that and be able to use that, say in a pool or a pair, whatever the case may be. Maybe even use it to pay for something in the future. The beauty of it is with Mehen is that fiat-backed means that we're also going to have fiat on and off ramps as well. So this way you can avoid the centralized exchanges altogether. From there, the community has been absolutely amazing, Fareed. And honestly, you've been really great at making sure that everybody knows what's going on within our community, right? And from that, being on Cardano over coffee, being able to facilitate, I mean, at this point, I think we've done over 1,000 interviews with different people on the show. And it's really given a spotlight or exposure to those people and what they're building on Cardano. And listening to Charles this morning with Keynote and where we're going and how we're setting the new narrative surrounding working with VeChain, working with Algorand, working with these different chains in order to empower not only ourselves, but those around them and their chains, right? I think that's probably one of the most important things we could honestly do and help those not just here in blockchain, but outside in countries where they absolutely need this particular type of tech in order to empower them now and into the future. So.
Blockjock, sounds like you might need to have your own YouTube channel, man. I'm listening to you speak, and those words are rolling off the tongue. You know what you're talking about, And so again, thank you. One thing that you just touched on there that really kind of piqued my interest was the fiat on-ramp and off-ramp. As many people here know within the community, having to go through Coinbase or Binance US, which have had their own issues very recently, has been a headache. So I'm excited for that portion of, what you guys are going to be bringing. And again, hopefully we can begin to get our hands on that sooner rather than later. But on that note, any closing comments from either one of you that you guys want to close us out with?
I just want to set expectations. Lower your expectations. It's going to be, it'll be on chain. It'll be available for people soon. But the 50-state roadmap is 6 to 12 months. We'll go in phases. We'll go as the states come on board. We'll announce it. But when we talk about true fiat on and off ramp for everybody, That's going to be probably announced at RareEvo 24.
Okay. Well, Steve, close us out.
I mean, with that, I would just say, we do have a Catalyst proposal in Fund 10. We tried in Fund 9, but I think we were just too new and not everybody knew about us, but things are changing. And so all those fees and like getting through those 50 states, there's a lot of legal fees and filings and everything else that we need, and also having reserves, like having liquidity to be able to even get those licenses. So if you are inclined to have a fiat-backed stablecoin on Cardano, please vote for our Catalyst fund.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. We've got Steve, Blockjock, Matt, and Matt representing Mehen, which is going to be bringing a fiat-backed stablecoin to the entire Cardano network. I look forward to speaking with you all. I want to thank you all for this introduction and just some of these updates as to what you guys are doing. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and close it out. Thank you all.